Hi, I'm your host, Erica Polsinelli, and welcome to Evolve by Erica, the podcast, where we talk all things spirituality, ascension, health, wellness, and beyond. I'm so excited that you are here. Come on in. Hello, guys, and welcome to another solo episode. I'm excited to be here for it. This is a topic that I think has been coming a lot personally for me, but also with a lot of people I've been chatting with, whether it's people within this community who are doing this type of work or just friends who are alongside us in this world living through these times. And I thought it'd be really powerful and important to do a solo episode that you can come back to if you are ever going through a hard time. And I think hard times can look a lot of different ways. Hard times, there could be something very specific that's coming up that's challenging us and forcing us into this space of discomfort in order to grow. And when we're in it, it doesn't feel like we're growing. It feels so sticky. It feels so heavy. It feels so mucky. But a hard time can look like that. And I think for a lot of us as well, of what we're experiencing right now is stagnancy, or just like we're in this place of a great pause or a lull. And I was with a friend last night and she was sharing with me that this is how she has been feeling. And as you know, I had a period of time where I was just feeling like in the in between, where you're coming out of one chapter and you're not quite yet stepping into that next chapter. And I was sharing with her, we were talking about this time that we're in, moving into this Aquarian forward energy, and how I think it plays a really big impact. And I think that this is a time of great, massive change that we have never seen before. They're referring to the astrology as revolutionary, astrology that we really haven't seen in our lifetime. And with what's going to happen, it's going to bring huge, tremendous changes. And I do think that might be why many of us might feel like we're in that space, the in between, the cocoon, the void, whatever it is you want to call it. And while navigating this area, there have been a few things that came to mind for me that I wanted to share with you. The first thing is always taking time to honor exactly what you're feeling and exactly what you're going through, and not trying to bypass or push through or force anything, but honoring and being so freaking honest with yourself. What is it you're feeling? Be honest. Sometimes we're afraid to say it and name it because it makes it more real. It brings us to that space. But by doing so, it allows us to truly be present in it. And I firmly believe that that is such a part of being in that space and moving through that space and into a new chapter in a new space. So taking time to really observe, honor, and call out whatever it is you are feeling, because what that is awareness. What it is sitting with it and accepting the awareness, accepting the state that you're in. And the first step is always having the awareness. And then once we can accept it and call it what it is, that's when we could finally start to move it. If we just have awareness and we're like, I'm feeling this way, but I'm not really going to acknowledge it, and I'm just going to stay here and I'm not going to touch it because I don't know what I'm going to uncover, and it might feel more uncomfortable the more I focus on it, that can prolong the process of change and the process of shifting. So taking time to, yes, have the awareness, always the first step, and then acceptance of where we are, what we're feeling, what we're experiencing, and honoring ourselves for it. And then we can start to then go into the next phase of moving the energy. And of course, we can do that with the practice. So with Kundalini, There's so much power in the practice because of the movements, because of the repetitive movements that we do in the Kriyas. That helps to literally move energy so that we can move our state, our energetic state, and then come into this higher frequency. And with the breath work and the meditation, continue to elevate and come to this space of clarity, come to this space of source, and come to this space of oneness. And when we go there, all of a sudden, we can grab so much wisdom, so much insight, and so much clarity. But that can take time. It might not come in the first practice, especially if we feel like we're vibrating at a lower frequency in that moment. It could take a lot of practice. But that is how that set of the movement, the breath work, the meditation helps us to move. We first start to move the energy, because if we just sit and talk and talk and talk and talk about what we're feeling, that's actually going to increase and magnify whatever it is that we're experiencing. And when we're going through a challenge, we don't want to do that. It's important to have the awareness. It's important to accept it. It's important to talk out what we need to talk out. And then there comes a time where we're ready to move it. And the interesting thing is when we are at a more dense, slower, or lower vibration, it's not as easy to come to the practices that really help us, because the practices require energy. They require life force, and we might feel drained or deprived of that in these challenging moments. So I want to share with you something that's been really helpful in those moments for me, so that you can support yourself and allow yourself to move through it. And that's having a plan each morning. This is the greatest time to take a Kriya or a meditation and commit to 40 days of it. The absolute best time to just commit is when you aren't feeling your best, when you don't want to bring yourself to the practice. So by committing to something, every single morning you wake up and you know exactly what you have to do. You know exactly what you're going to go into and do. And there's no decision fatigue of looking through the app and trying to find something that feels perfect for the day. And there's not as much time to talk yourself out of it, because you have a plan, you have a commitment, and you have a promise to yourself. And you're just going to follow through on that. And what you can do is you can choose maybe 3 practices. And you can say to yourself, during this period, I am going to wake up and either do this one, if I wake up with a lot of extra time, a full Kriya with the breathwork and meditation. Or if I wake up with an okay amount of time, I'll do this meditation. Or if I woke up and I really don't have much time or much energy, I'll do this breath express or this micro meditation. But having these 3 tools in your toolkit, in your pocket, to call upon them and to stick with them. And there is such a balance of finding the time to nurture yourself and not do much. And then there's that time where the self-discipline has to kick in and you have to say, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to make a change, and I'm ready to bring myself to the change. And I think what drives that is your belief in the practice. And a lot of us have such belief in the practice because of what it's already done for us. So thinking about how it supported us in the past, what it has done for us, what it has done for others, and how it can continue to support us. But it's also about this belief in your own self, knowing that what you're going through right now is temporary, knowing that what you're experiencing is a challenge, it's a chapter, and it's going to pass, knowing that you're going to overcome this, and that you are going to be able to come to a space where you feel happy and you feel at home and you feel at peace. And knowing that you're worthy of all of that. Knowing that things can change and you can and deserve to be happy and free and in alignment. So reminding yourself of each of those things will be the glue that helps you to show up for yourself each day through your practice. And maybe if you're listening and you don't have the Kundalini practice in the morning, you may have some other practices. Maybe it's getting out for a run. Maybe it's getting out for a walk. Maybe it's spending time with your dog. Maybe it's going to the beach and taking a breath there, one intentional breath. It can be anything, but just finding your tools, having them in your toolkit, and being able to quickly pull them out because we need it. We need to do it quickly because the more time we give ourselves to think about what we feel and talk ourselves out of all the things that are good for us, the longer we're going to stay in that state. Another thing that I find so helpful in this time of whether it feels like you're ready to grow, you're ready for the next chapter, or it's just a hard time because you're experiencing a challenge, focus in on the things that bring you joy, the things that speak to your soul. So I'll give you an example. I know that when I teach a meditation to the community on a live, if I go to the studio to film a meditation, if I have an in-person event, I'm going to come alive no matter what I'm going through in my life because that is my soul's purpose. That's what lights me up. And that is just what reminds me of who I am. So I know I'm going to want to do that. However, my mind can say, Erica, you're going through something. You should probably just sit around and rest. You should probably just focus on your problems. You should probably just let all your emotions run through. And yes, there's a balance. But when you know what lights you up and you're able to bring yourself to that space and that light turns on within you, it helps to bring so much clarity as well. So yours may look different. It may have absolutely nothing to do with your career. It may have nothing to do with something that you do every day. Maybe it's coloring. Maybe it's arts. Maybe it's cooking. Maybe it's baking. Maybe it's charity work or volunteering your time, spending time with your loved ones, whatever it is that makes you feel so aligned. Just do more of that. Find time and space to do more of that. Because once you're in it, that light is reactivated, that life force energy moves through you, and you're able to tap into these moments of joy and a high frequency, even through a tough period. And the more times that we could hit that higher frequency, the more we're going to be a match for more opportunities and experiences like that to come in. And the more it's going to help lift us up from where we are and bring us to that space of where we want to be. So I hope that that is helpful and those steps are helpful. This has been really important to me, and it really takes me back to the beginning and to the foundation of my practice. I think when we find our practice, or if we're going through a really hard time, the practice is there, we're able to use it, and we're able to feel good. And then we could go through another period that doesn't feel as heavy. And we kind of forget the impact it's had on us. And we kind of forget how beneficial it can be because we're just like cruising, you know? And then in the moments that are hard, we're reminded. And again, it's not easy to bring yourself to those higher spaces when we're going through a challenge. But if we have the structures in place and if we have the tools in our toolkit that we could easily call upon, we're going to feel so much more supported. The final thing that I want to share is don't wait so long to ask for help or to be supported in some way. So today's day, we're living in a time where we have access to so many different types of healing modalities, which is incredible. And we can have space held for us in a number of ways. So one way I hold space is through a one-on-one meditation experience. I have my friend Marcy who holds space through her type of healing experiences, which I love to go to. Another way that I love having space held for me is through acupuncture. Maybe a way that you love to have space held for you is by talking to a therapist or a coach or a breathwork teacher or an energetics healer. It's a very interesting thing when we allow someone to hold space for us. And a lot of my journey was realizing how powerful we are and how we could hold so much space for ourselves through this practice. But there are times where support from the outside is essential as well. And you may not realize that you need space held for you until it finally is. And I'll give you an example. I recently scheduled an acupuncture appointment and I really needed it. I was going through a really rough period. And that morning, I was driving to the city and I had a few appointments before that for work. So I was just like, I'm going to get through my day and then I'm going to end it at acupuncture and I'm just going to let it all go. Well, to my surprise, as I was driving to the city, I became extremely emotional. And everything that I hoped to come and bring out in acupuncture was already starting. And I believe that's the energetics of having space held for you. So I knew we have a commitment. We have an appointment together. She is anticipating me. I'm anticipating her. And so energetically, the appointment has already started. And energy work is really powerful. And this really does happen. And some of you may have felt that same way in our one-on-ones or if you've worked with other healers. But I became really emotional. I started to process a lot of what I was dealing with on my way, 5 hours before my appointment. And it came into my awareness that I didn't realize how desperately I needed some space held for me and how much I truly couldn't wait. I was outpouring all my emotions before I even got to the appointment, but I couldn't even wait for that space to be held. And the only reason why I started to realize how much I needed this space held for me was because I had this appointment. I know that might sound weird, but sometimes you are not aware of how much you're holding until you allow someone else in to be able to hold space for you as well. And that was a download I got. Sometimes you don't understand how much support you need until you finally ask for the support. So don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't wait so long before getting the support you need, whatever that looks like, because you may be so surprised at how much you really needed it. And you may not have that awareness until you actually commit to it. So to review, I think it's really powerful to have this system in place, and it starts with awareness, observing, understanding, and then accepting of how you're feeling in this moment. And then knowing when it's time to start to move the energy, whether it's through your practice, through movement, through whatever it may be that helps you to move it. Finding moments of joy where you can spend tapping into your light, thinking about what lights you up and aligns you to your highest self. And then having space held for you when you need it, because it's essential. And as we enter this age of Aquarius, we start to realize, and you've heard me say this before, it is so much less about me and it's all about we. And that's across the board in so many ways. There are things that we simply can no longer do alone by ourselves. We need the support. We need the community. We need the healers. We need the energy healers or the energy workers. And it's just, I believe it's a paradigm shift, and it's going to help us get so much further together when we can do more together and support one another. So I just want to remind you, if you feel like you're in this time of a great pause, of an in-between, or maybe of the most difficult days of your life so far, I want to remind you that it's temporary. I want to remind you that you will get through this, There will be a whole brand new chapter after. And I recently saw a meme where, I guess it's a meme, but it was saying what you look like after your challenges. And it's like this gorgeous pearl after all of the pressure, after all of the demands, after all of the challenges, after all of that grit and hard work comes this beautiful next chapter with so much more wisdom, so much more insight. And every difficult time is forcing our souls to expand. We are here on this planet, I believe. It's like our classroom. We come here to evolve. I find that that's the purpose of this whole life experience. We come here to evolve. We come here to elevate our consciousness. And we come here to learn more about us, our true selves. And with that means there are going to be challenges. And with every single challenge, there is a gain, there is a reward, there is more wisdom, there's more insight. There's so much more healing that takes place. So try to remind yourself of that and try to ask yourself, what is it that I'm learning through this? What is this giving me? We're on a planet of the polarities, the poles. So with as hard of a time you may be going through, there's an opposite, an equal and opposite force. So what are the blessings that are coming through this? And depending on the intensity of the challenge, it can almost feel impossible, truly impossible to find the blessings. But can you find any? Can you think and see and try to analyze? Maybe just ask your guides, ask the universe, what is it this is teaching me? How is this helping me to grow and expand? What is this bringing to me? How is this working for me and supporting me? And just see what you get. Maybe there's nothing. Maybe you discover something, and all of a sudden your perspective completely shifts towards the challenge that you're in. So I want to remind you that I believe in you, that I know you believe in yourself, and that's why you're here and part of this community and tuning into the meditations and tuning into the podcast, because you believe in yourself and you believe in evolving, and you know that you're here to grow and expand and continue to evolve. So continue to remind yourself of that. Continue to do all the things that support you in aligning to your highest self. And something that I've been seeing a lot in my mind's eye lately, as you know, this year for me is all about community. And I'm feeling the energy of this community so much. And especially when we go live together on the app. And especially, of course, when we meet in person together. But I see all of us supporting one another. And what you would tell another community member when they tell you their dreams or when they tell you the challenge they're going through, what you would tell them, how you would support someone else or a friend or a family member, you need to give that to yourself. And I visualize us all in our own space, but all connected through this collective space. Like we're all sitting in almost the same room, the same dimension together. And as we set intention together, each of us is supporting the other's intention because we believe in each other. We believe in one another. I believe in you. And you have to remind yourself to take all that belief you have in your friends, in your colleagues, in your family members, and remind yourself of how much you believe in you as well. Take what you say to others and try to find those same compliments, those same thoughts within you for yourself. Because I don't think we do enough of that. And I think we are such a supportive collective. If you put us in a room and each person shared their intention, we would be rooting and cheering for each other. Like, you can totally do that. There's nothing that's getting in your way. That's absolutely possible for you. But are you saying the same to yourself? And I want you to, because there's a whole community beside you that's cheering you on. So you need to cheer yourself on. We believe in you, and I want you to believe in you. So anytime you feel alone, anytime you feel like something's not possible, think about that community beside you. Think about me beside you. I think we're limitless. So anything you tell me, I believe that you're worthy of, I believe that you're capable of, and I believe that you could accomplish it. Period, the end. That's it. So I want you to feel that energy for yourself, through yourself, in any moment that you need it, and know that there's a whole community supporting you and assisting you. And I feel so grateful for this community for that reason, because that's how we each benefit from it. Even though we're not all together in person, it's energy and there's a collective force. And we're creating something here that's really powerful. And I want you to use that to help you rise, to help you ascend, to help you evolve, and to help you live your most aligned life. I love you so much. Come back to this anytime you need a little pep talk, anytime you're going through a challenge, anytime you just needed to be reminded, okay, I'm going through a shitty time. What can I do? And I'm always here for you too. You could always reach out through DMs. I love you. I support you. I'm cheering for you. And I thank you so much for being here and for joining me today. If this resonated with you, if you feel like someone else can benefit from this, please share the episode. And of course, if it resonates, you can always review and rate the podcast. It's always so appreciated. Thank you so much. I love you. May the long time sun shine upon you. Sat Nam.